Welcome to A&B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined today by Mickey Keating and Joe Swanberg. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We're coming to you live from my kitchen in Chicago.
Absolutely. I love that, man. I can't wait to talk with you both. And I love that you're in your kitchen. So I have you on today to talk about your brand new horror home invasion film called Invader.
Ma'am, Morton Grove, last stop.
Is anybody there?
Me estoy aquí en la estación de autobuses solita y nadie responde.
When you finish recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Voy caminando hacia tu casa.
Your destination is 5 miles away.
I am looking for Camila Torres.
She's not here. She didn't come to work today.
Creo que algo malo está pasando. ¿Me puedes llamar?
Your destination is 2 miles away.
¿A dónde vas?
1 mile away. You have arrived at your destination.
Congratulations. It's fantastic. I've watched it twice. It's haunting, it's intense, it stays with you long afterward. And I loved it. I think you've created something incredible. You both should be very proud of your new film.
Thank you so
There you go.
much.
Thanks.
Round
And
of
this is-
applause.
This is history being made because I think this is like one of the first interviews that Joe and I have ever been in the same space together.
I think
'Cause
that's
usually,
true.
yeah, usually like because I'm in California and so yeah, very happy to be here.
I love that. And it's not like Zoom magic. You really are in the same room.
No,
That's
We really are in
fantastic.
the same room.
Right. Let's do it. Groundbreaking. Well, like I said, I can't wait to chat with you both about your film Invader. My very first question, if we jump right into it, is what was your inspiration for this post home invasion horror film?
Yeah, well, so first and foremost, it came from wanting to make a movie with Joe and kind of like in the Chicago vibe and style of what he does, right? Because we met when we made
Mhm.
Off Season, and we had so much fun, like just working together. That
Got
when
a
hell yeah,
copy of it right here.
awesome. And so when the opportunity called me and he called me up, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I'll come to Chicago. Let's figure out something to do. And then on that point, it's like I really love home invasion movies. And for a long time, I always thought like there would be something great to be told about not the home invasion, but just a character stumbling in on the aftermath of something like that. And what would that mean?
Yes.
And so that's kind of where it jumped off from because, you know, you can only make the same kind of home invasion movie so many times.
Yes. Oh, and it's so good. My God, the way you approach it, it's just fantastic. It's original, and it's unpredictable, and it gets very crazy in the final act. No spoilers here for those who haven't seen it. So let's see. My next question is: you are both filmmakers, so how do you work together? So, Joe, how do you put on sort of the acting hat and not try to be the director? And Mickey, what's it like working with Joe from a director's perspective? What do you both bring to the table is my question.
Well, I think with this film, I sort of started with my producing cap on because I had gone down to Florida to act in off season, and I was just
Mhm.
so impressed with Mickey's directing skill, his sort of indie energy and problem solving abilities and things like that. So, selfishly from a producing standpoint, I was like, ooh, I want to work with this filmmaker because he's such a good problem solver and he can just
Hmm.
handle the stressors and the, curveballs that low budget indie filmmaking throw at you. And so the initial pitch was kind of, I would love to produce for you. And then I think the acting thing came in, wasn't necessarily baked in, but then I love acting, and we had a fun time working on off season together in that sort of capacity. So for me, it's like a vacation. I mean, I love not being in control and it not being my movie. It's so stressful to direct, you just have a
Yes.
million people asking you questions all day long, and it's your responsibility to kind of lead the ship and keep the vibe good and know what's going on and predict tomorrow and the following week. And as an actor, I feel like someone tells you, okay, tomorrow we're doing these scenes. This is what you need to be prepared for. Someone else hands you your clothes. It's so relaxing
Yes,
for me. So
even if it's a latex bodysuit, yes. But I know
well,
exactly
that's
where
true.
you're
This one
coming from.
was not fully relaxing. I remember zipping that latex suit on and thinking, "Oh, I hope nothing goes wrong here."
Oh gosh, yes.
But so yeah, that it's easy for me to stay out of the way because I think I'm so relieved that it's not my job on those days. And I just get to watch Mickey sweat,
And for me, I think it's so great to work with somebody who understands all those problems and comes from it from like, when you can go up to somebody and be like just kind of director shorthand to them because they understand the problem and have been there so many times. It's so great to work with people who have been in the hot seat as well. And yeah, just from that kind of perspective, it's like, Joe is a through and through artist, and so being able to work with somebody who supports the vision of the artist and doesn't come in from a perspective of is trying first and foremost to make something that's great and different is so much more refreshing than some Hollywood producers who have seen Entourage and think that they're going to be XYZ number of reasons why they're making movies with bad intentions. So I think that was like a really great support system that is, a very rare privilege. And then, just from a base level, it's like I've seen Joe in so many movies and I've always thought, like, even before I knew him, I was like, this guy's fucking great. And so it's really fun to get him to play like the most ruthless, unhinged bad guy ever because, I don't see that very often.
So, Joe, you play the invader in the film. That brings me right on to my next question. What was it like breathing life into this mysterious, creepy, menacing character? There's so much more that we don't see on the surface. I'd like I'd like for you to speak to that a little bit and maybe give us your interpretation of the invader. And then, Mickey, I'd like to hear your interpretation of the invader as well. I'll stop talking.
Yeah. I thought a lot about it. I mean, I wanted him to be scary. First and foremost, I thought if this guy is a very menacing and intimidating figure at the center of this movie, it's just going to make it more fun for the audience and just give us a lot more to play with. So I asked a lot of questions about who he was, normal acting stuff. Basically, if I'm going to do a good job playing the role, the more I know where he's coming from and the more I can inject it with my version of reality, even though I mean hopefully this is not anybody's reality, but I still want to ground it in a place of reality. And so my interpretation of the character was somebody who was very, very angry and very, very disappointed by the world. I thought he's the scariest if he has reached a point in his life where he is no longer acting from a game plan of having a strategy or a way out, but is more like a trapped animal who has when the movie starts, he's already past the point where he's assumed he's going to be caught and killed. So I was like, that is a really fun and intimidating and scary character to get to play, where we haven't even witnessed the moment where he's given up on any idea of stopping this and having a normal life again. He's like, I'm gonna go until they take me down, and only then will I stop, when I'm dead. And so I just tried to come into every single scene manifesting that energy, but he's also cool and collected, and we talked a lot about he's sort of utilizing a very normal look and a very confident and comfortable attitude to speak directly with police in the movie, to talk to neighbors, to walk up and knock on the door of homeowners. Nothing about him is conveying panic or fear or anything like that. He's kind of moving through the world with utter confidence but then also, he sort of goes into these situations and he's kind of like, yeah, there's no running away anymore. There's no escaping this path that I've chosen. So it's like burn it all down. So
Okay.
so I was saying, my background on this guy, or my version of his life before the movie started, was maybe that he was an auto mechanic or some sort of working class
Mhm.
9 to 5. I figured the
Yeah.
rage and anger would be the most acute if he had gone from idealist to nihilist or something, that we basically watched him participate in the system up until a point where he felt, okay, the system has completely abandoned me. There's no way to win through playing the game legitimately. So now I'm going to play the game illegitimately. And that we're kind of picking him up just post that like rage point.
Mhm.
And so that's where I was coming from. I don't know. I kicked a lot of stuff off of you.
No, I love it. It's I love that. And also, from my perspective, just, because from a purely like like aesthetic standpoint, we talked too about just, and maybe it was like subconscious because of what was going on in the world, but like that he is a virus basically. Like that's how, he goes into a place, he breaks down the system, and then he leaves when there's nothing left to like either entertain him or feed off of him. And so that's why we really kind of like, why I thought it was super fun to have him like collect shit from different houses that he's found that he finds
Yes.
fascinating, that he takes with him and then just moves on. And to Joe's point, yeah, he's just going to he's in like berserk mode. He's just going to keep doing it until somebody kills the virus.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Berserk mode. That's like a perfect way to describe it, especially the final act is just insane. So with Off Season, the film that you worked on, let me show it again. I do have a DVD copy of it here. The film you worked on together. Yes, I do love this film. I would love to do an interview just where we talk about this.
And we can talk about
but
it all, man.
we can talk about it all. So let's see. So with that one, I understand that it was very scripted, lots of storyboards, that it was all calculated and mapped out. With Invader, and kind of like the Invader, there's sort of a spontaneity, an authentic realness to it, let's say. Can you speak to a little bit of the scripting process and how much of it was spontaneous, like the character, the Invader in the film?
So I mean, we talked a lot about like, so a perfect example of the style of the way that we made Invader as opposed to Off Season was, it was
Mhm.
day, we shot it in like 12 days or something, and it was day
Oh wow!
11, and our other producer Eddie Linker said, "Hey, I know this house. Do you want to like use the house for like another movie?" And Joe and I were like, "Wait a second, no, like what if we open the whole movie with him absolutely obliterating this house?" And same
Yes,
kind of
yes,
like
yeah.
with the
Mhm.
ending, like, we had like this kind of more Michael Myers-esque, like he's still out there conclusion. And then along the lines, Joe and I started talking. We're like, no, what if we for 2 more days just have the absolute most insane dovetail of this narrative we possibly can have. So that was kind of the process, as opposed to Off Season, which, every single shot was drawn and edited, in an animatic beforehand. And,
Mhm.
with Invader, like if we wanted to, like there was originally, like I had envisioned like her stopping in like this like big like Greyhound bus station, right? And then when I came out to Chicago and we just started looking around, then all of a sudden we found this little bus, or this little train station that also had this tunnel that I'm like, that tunnel is way
Mm.
scarier than anything that I could
Oh
have
yeah.
possibly ever imagined. So yeah, it was a lot of like fortuitous kind of things, and you can't. Joe's been so good at making those movies where there really is a sincerity to the immediacy of it, that it was
Mhm.
really like fun to do that and try that, and I want to do that more for another movie and another movie.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Well,
tried to embrace. I mean, the goal was very much to make the scariest and most intense movie we could make with what the world was offering us, So
mhm.
choosing Homewood Flossmoor as a shooting location, and then scouting and trying to utilize resources there, and also, yeah, as Mickey was saying, as ideas would come in, even if we were midway through the shoot, attempting to incorporate things, still casting people as the process was going on. These are all things I'm super familiar with. I've made 20 something features with this exact mindset and attitude. You just get the train leaves the station, and then you are rolling, and you just have to take every good idea that comes and work with every sort of attitude. So I think it was cool to work with Mickey, who does come from a more structured background. Hopefully we're getting the best of both worlds. I'm encouraging him to, let's just show up. Let's see what's there. Let's see who lets us shoot at their house. Let's see what, and then he's kind of very good at planning and strategizing. And so we got a little bit of all of that. There was definitely a script before Mickey came to town, but then, I feel like I'm the like chaos influence. It's sort of like, I know that's what the script says, but what if we did this, or what if we just cut that scene entirely and added this scene that's not in there? And but working with a director who's made a lot of films, it's like we both have a very keen sense of what's realistic, so that was also nice. We were never chasing some absurd, or it's not like every idea that came through we were enamored with and rerouting the entire movie. It was very much like, oh yeah, okay, we can actually pull that off tomorrow, let's do that. This other thing sounds cool, we're never going to actually be able to do that, so let's scrap that. So it felt great because we're familiar with the number of shooting days, the budget range, things like that, in a way where I think we're on the same page most of the time.
Totally.
I love that. So the best of both worlds, the two of you together as a team, the stars aligned, let's say, for Invader. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the casting process. So in addition to Joe, we have Vero Menez, Colin Huerta, and Ruby Vallejo. How did they all get involved, and what was it like working with them?
They came through some agencies that I had worked with on Easy. I mean, Mickey met with several people and cast these particular actors, but I was reaching out to the Chicago theater community. I was hitting up agents that I had worked with before. We were looking to discover people. Personally, for me, I mean, having come from a world where I'm sometimes working with major movie stars and other times working with non-professionals who've never been in anything before, the horror genre is the most exciting to me because you can cast unknowns and it actually makes the movie scarier. There's something much more believable when you're spending the running time with a character you've never seen before. They might as well be the person in the movie. So I'm always the person who has a little bit of a challenge connecting with the recognizable movie star who I just saw in another movie 3 nights ago. And now I'm supposed to, believe they're this person. I just watched them being this person.
Yes.
So, you're liberated and you just get to cast the most talented, best people, not necessarily angling for names that can bring in budgets and things like that. So we just resourced the local community, and Mickey did Zooms before arriving in Chicago. And it's awesome when the objective is let's just cast the best actor, as opposed to this person could get us this and this person has this many Instagram followers. It was like, ruthlessly like who's going to work for the movie, who's going to make the movie great.
Yes, they're perfect in the roles, right?
Exactly.
And I think you chose very well for this film, for what it's worth. Mickey, I cut you off.
I love them. I was so surprised, and this was both of their first features. And so it was exhilarating to watch that instead of like having, an actor, because this movie didn't have lighting marks. That was not, in the DNA of the film. And so to just watch that kind of like authentic freedom was really, really exciting for me, for both of them. And yeah, I mean, they translated everything in the movie, like that. They were really incredible. So I loved working with them, and they were quite a find.
And they did a fantastic job across the board. So I mentioned this a little bit, that the final act is crazy. It's intense. Once the mayhem ensues, it doesn't let up. And there's a lot of physicality to some of it as well. So my question for you is, and it's kind of general, but what are the challenges with creating such intense scenes, sequences, and moments? Like even the chase scene, the fight scene with the police officer, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but can you speak to that a little bit? The intensity of it in the end.
Well, the challenge for me was that there were things that Joe suggested he wanted to do, and I was like, Joe will die if we do this. So
Oh my gosh.
we have to figure out what we can't do first, because the other option would be like, oh, if I'll kill Joe Swanberg, and then everyone will hate me.
And
But
that would be very bad. Yes, I'm glad Joe is still here.
But just from
Glad
that
you're
too,
still
it's
with
like,
us. Yeah.
yes,
of course.
despite it all. But for me, one of the best things that I really wanted to do, and one of the big challenges, was create that sequence in a propelling, like, handheld take, following being accomplices in with him throughout the entire thing. So yeah, I mean, that just was like, it was a testament to the camera guys, the testament to Joe climbing over those fences. There was, it's like throwing himself against the door. There was a second where one of the takes, I thought for sure like you threw your shoulder out or something, because that was a real door. That was not a stage door. He went at it like a freight train.
Oh my God. Wow. Nicely done.
I wanted to do
were
way
you
more,
hurt?
man. I wanted
Even
to crash
more.
cars. I wanted to get shot with a real gun. There was so much I wanted to do.
So
And
much
Mickey
more you
was-
could have done.
Mickey was the safety coordinator.
Well, I guess thankfully so. But, well, Joe, what was it like doing all the physicality of it? Did you get hurt? Were
It
there
was
any?
awesome. Yeah,
It was awesome.
It was
Good.
awesome. I was 100% bought. To me, I come from a filmmaking background, and even as an audience member, where you can just feel the difference between a real stunt and CGI, or camera trickery and things like that. And as Mickey started talking about these long takes, I was like, cool. I mean, the way they're going to really work is if we figure out ways to really feel like I'm doing that stuff, and I'm super down to do all that stuff. I love Raising Arizona. It's like the movie that made me want to be a filmmaker. And that chase sequence in Raising Arizona was definitely like a point of inspiration for us, because he runs through houses and through a grocery store. It's like this crazy, almost nonstop pandemonium. And it's sort of like, okay, what about the horror version of the Raising Arizona chase sequence? Like, that would be a really good starting point, at least, to like imagine the sequence.
100%, yeah.
And it's kind of, did you see Weapons, that chase scene at the end?
Yeah,
with Gladys? That's pretty intense too, in sort of a comical and horrific way. Kind of like with Invader.
She didn't jump over a fence and climb a shed, though.
She didn't. No. Yes, you definitely did that. So Mickey, I heard in an interview that you referred to your film as aggressively ugly, and I think you were speaking to sort of a unique way of filming. So you have long shots, then you have some quick editing as well. And I think what this style evokes is that you almost feel like, as a viewer, you're watching something you shouldn't be. You almost feel like you're in the room with everything that's unfolding, but you shouldn't be there. And so I think it's, from a creative perspective, I think you've created something that works. It's resounding and stays with you afterwards. So can you talk a little bit about that technique and why you wanted to try something different with Invader from a editing and camera perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So yeah, I think what it came down to first and foremost was, this was an effort to the movie. I wanted to take away like all the fun tools, right? Like all the things going, whether it be dolly track, crane, Steadicam, but even like movie references, right? Because a lot of, with my older films, I'd be like, oh, here's my shot from Blowout. Here's my shot from, this movie and this movie. And I really wanted to shoot Invader on a much more instinctual level. And on that point, I feel like the trend of horror movies in the last kind of decade have been, because technology has allowed us to make very beautiful films. A lot of movies of this size are essentially auditions to be Blumhouse movies, right? Like, look, I can prove that I can make, a movie for this amount of money. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make the audience like aware again that like not just that it's handheld, but that they're aware of handheld camera work, because now you can shoot a movie from 30 different angles on handheld cameras and nobody even recognizes it anymore. So it really was that effort to do that, to make the audience, to kind of confront the audience, but also in a lot of moments the camera is the third character, right? And he's kind of, the cameraman is kind of complicit in like the breaking and entering and everything. And I just thought that was like a really fun and interesting technique to experiment with. So I think, but and then from an editing standpoint, it kind of just came down to rhythm. There was like a lot of moments where like a lot of long takes lasted, way longer, and there was a lot of like more drawn out stuff. But then you look at like documentaries, like Louis Theroux documentaries, anything like that, where it's allowed to cut wherever they want to, right? Like that's you just go. So it was all that kind of power to make that aesthetic, for the film.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. So what do you think is so scary about your film? What does it touch upon that everyone can sort of relate to?
I'll go first. I mean, I had the pleasure of performing it and then really kind of not seeing it until I got to watch it like a movie. And for me, it's the slow perpetual ramp up that really freaks me out about this movie. I mean, it just begins quiet and alone, and you get in this rhythm with this woman who's a stranger in a strange land. And then I just think Mickey does an amazing job ratcheting up throughout the runtime of the movie till, the final 25 minutes are just unrelenting. I mean, it is just absolutely nonstop.
Crazy.
And
yes,
for me, very freaky. I mean, I just think it's a really intense final act of the film. So that's really fun. But the attempt to ground it for me was the goal of, really feeling like when the film ends, wanting the audience to feel like, oh shit, everything I just saw in that movie could happen. It is not reliant on special effects or trickery or things that make me feel like, oh, whatever, that was just a movie. I wanted it to really get under people's skin, and the goal really to be that it stayed and lingered in a nightmarish sort of way. So hopefully we accomplished that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, that opening thing about that statistic. I mean, that's a real statistic, and I think that's very frightening. And I mean, Joe even had his own little, Invader-esque kind of moment. If you want to share about that.
Yeah, this was this was life imitating art. We made the movie first, and then I was robbed last summer, and they did basically move in, and as they stole all of my possessions, they also just made a little nest for themselves. Yeah. And I actually was robbed multiple times by the same group of people. And the second time I came in, about a month after the initial robbery, I came in and the person was asleep in the apartment. I opened the door and and was like,
for real? Oh my gosh.
I opened the door and was like, shit, I've been robbed again. You've got to be kidding me. And as I was looking around to surveil the second robbery's damage, I looked over and there was a human being asleep on my couch. And I
am floored. So what happened? Did the police come?
I ran outside and called the police. It took the police 45 minutes to get there, even though I told them there was a man in my place. And then the
was
police
he still there?
The police finally got there. Well, then I watched him sell things out of the front door of the building. So while I was waiting for 45 minutes for the police to arrive, he woke up apparently, got some messages from Facebook Marketplace people that he was selling my stuff to. And then I saw people pull up in their cars, interact with him, load my stuff into the back of their cars. And then when the police finally got there, two guys with my stuff in their car were still there. And I was like, okay, this guy's got my stuff in his car. This guy's got my stuff in his car. And the guy who's robbing me is still in my place. And the police were like, hold on a second. and started questioning me. And I was like, he's gonna get away. There's only 2 doors. There's a front and a back door to my place. We have him technically surrounded with you 2 police officers. Would you want to go get him first, and then I'll tell you everything about what's happening? And instead, they pulled me over to the side, both of them, and then I watched him run out the back door.
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, there he goes. That's him. And then they slowly went and got into the car and then drove down the street, parked down the street for 30 minutes with the lights on while like 6 other police cars came. And I was like, oh, they must have got him because there's so many of them over there. And then they drove back over 30 minutes later and said, we didn't get him. He ran away.
Unbelievable.
So it's real easy for Invader to do what he does.
And then they came back and robbed me a 3rd time, like 2 months later.
Oh my God. Do you think this, well, I'm glad you're laughing about it. Wow. Do you think it had anything to do with your film?
Absolutely nothing to do with my
just
film.
the coincidence. Oh my gosh.
Unless I like
Unbelievable.
karmically invited.
Yeah. And I also have to ask, was the guy who ran off in a latex suit? A black latex? No.
Thankfully not. I would have been very panicked if that.
Joe is still wearing the latex suit.
He's still wearing the latex suit.
If I sensed I was the victim of a coordinated copycat attack, I probably would have lost some sleep.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope they don't come back. And I hope you did get some of your things back. And what I think is so scary about your film is that it's the safety of your own home. And when someone comes in, you feel very violated, especially if they're eating your food, sleeping on your couch. My God, selling your movies. That would be horrific. I'm all about physical media. And you are in the safety of your kitchen. If we planned ahead, we could have had someone show up behind you in that black latex suit. So anyway, for those who haven't seen it, when you watch Invader, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Let's see. I like to ask if you could describe your film using other films, especially for those who haven't seen it. What are some movies that come to mind if you had to choose?
See, I've gotten into trouble for this because when I'm too open about my influence, everyone accuses me of directly ripping off those things. So I will say the movies that inspire me were truthfully Joe Swanberg's Process, honestly, more than anything else, because I'm sure that there are like, look, I mean, horror is the genre where you could say, oh, it's this movie and this movie and this movie. But in the past, with like Off Season, for example, there were movies referenced that I didn't even watch, but because I'm like very open about my influences sometimes, then, that's what it gets reduced to. So the Joe Swanberg filmography was the inspiration.
I love that. That's awesome.
I was a little bit of a troll on this movie as well. Like if I heard anyone on set talking about other movies, I was that guy that would go, okay, cool. So they've already made that movie, so we don't have to do that.
Let's do something different.
And let's make sure we are coming up with an idea that we haven't already seen in some other movie. So I was a little bit of a pest, but I did feel like we should be, sort of attempting to reference reality or live in reality as opposed to a cinematic universe or something.
Yeah. I will offer, not for the shooting, but there's a brilliant documentary called Welcome to Leith, and it has an incredible soundtrack. Like the score is incredible, and we used the score as our inspiration for our score, because I was like, I haven't seen a documentary with this kind of like intense ambient horror score before. And so that if someone wants to check that movie out, it's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It's totally unrelated to horror. It's about like real life horror, but that would be like a reference for inspiration in post-production.
And Raising Arizona.
Cool. And Raising Arizona, of course.
And Raising Arizona, yes, there you go.
I feel comfortable. I don't think people will think we ripped out that one too much, unless Joe stole a baby at the end of it.
Oh my gosh. Maybe in the sequel. Well, actually, would you ever do a sequel? Would you return to Invader, or do you think this is a standalone project?
I would play that character again. I loved that character. So
yes, I'd love to hear that.
I'm on board.
If the kids get hip to it and demand a sequel, I think there's a lot of ways to go that would be really interesting.
Absolutely.
totally different way. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, if somehow it blows up on TikTok or something, we'd consider it.
Yes, yes. Well, I do want, before I forget, I want to show the amazing TerrorVision edition. So if you're a physical media collector like me, this edition is just amazing. Look at that.
Hell yeah.
Slipcover, hardcover case, slipcover, and even additional artwork on the inside. So that also leads me to my next question, and that is, how can folks, other than buying this TerrorVision edition, how can they watch Invader?
It's on anywhere you want to buy it on streaming. It's available. It's on Shutter now too. Joe just opened a brand new video rental store in Chicago at the Davis Theater, and it's, if you want to tell more about that, but it's available to rent there.
Yeah, I'm a big physical media head like you, and I have
Hell yeah.
since 2021 been running this brick and mortar video rental store, which actually has moved 3 times over the past 4 years, because I started it in a pizza place, in the back room of a pizza place, and we got
Oh
shut
my
down
gosh.
there. So I moved it to a storefront a couple doors down. We were there for a few years. We got shut down there. And then an opportunity opened to do a pop-up version of it next to the Music Box Theater here in Chicago. So we were there from April to Halloween of this year. And then we just moved to a movie theater called the Davis. And the video store is occupying the bar space next door to the Davis. It's called Sojourn. And now it's a collaboration, Sojourn and Analog Video. So membership is $15 a month, unlimited rentals. And we also, every Monday night, are going to do screenings at the movie theater that
Oh
are
my
for
God.
members. And yeah, we're just getting started. And that's why Mickey is in town. He's participating in our opening night event tonight. And then we will
That's
kick off
amazing.
things. Yeah, January 9th, we'll kick off things more aggressively. And yeah, every Monday we'll have new releases out. And it's a total old school brick and mortar video rental store where you can come in and rent movies.
It's awesome.
That is awesome. Can you open one in Boston? That's my next
If
question.
things go well here, I would love to open one in
That would
Boston.
be so cool. Well, you would definitely get my business if that ever happened. Let's see. As I mentioned that I do this or that segment, but before we get to that, I also want to ask about live audiences consuming your film. I know you've had a few screenings. What was it like watching Invader with the crowd and getting their feedback?
It was awesome. I mean, we premiered it internationally at Fright Fest, and it was it played at the Odeon Theater, on IMAX in Leicester Square, just the biggest theater
Oh my God.
imaginable. And to see it on a screen with an audience, it was kind of, I had to warn them at the beginning. I was like, if you feel like you're going to get seasick, it's okay to you can step out, take a breath for a second. And it's just really, I do think it's funny with this movie, more than a lot of other horror movies I've made, is like you can see the audience start to really brace up and stop fidgeting around once they go and break into the house. And that's really satisfying to see on the big screen.
Yes. Oh my God. And in that theater too, isn't that the theater that, is it James Cameron likes to watch his movies in that theater? Is that the same?
Yes,
same
yeah.
theater, I believe.
They said when they're like, yeah, like a month ago, Christopher Nolan came and played, like Tenet or something again. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And now Invader's gonna dirty up the screen,
Oh no. Oh man, that's so cool. Let's see. I have one last sort of fun question, and we talked about the scares and the frights in Invader. What scares you both in real life? Maybe not a fun question, but
everything.
Yeah, Mickey is easily
Spiders.
scared.
I'm
He's prone
Everything.
to
litigation.
Oh gosh.
Getting lost. Basically anything.
the
IRS.
The IRS.
Any bureaucracy. I'm very
Oh my gosh.
Kafka-esque in that regard. Red tape. But no, and then basically, I mean, Invader truly comes from the idea of for me, when traveling, I do always kind of need a second, in a new airport or something, to kind of be understanding what's going on. I don't know. It's just like an overwhelming kind of sensation. So that's why, the train goes by in a really like a sonic kind of boom way. Like, I wanted those sounds to be very abrasive. But yeah, you name it, I'm afraid of it pretty much.
I hear you. Yes. Yeah. So I love that. I guess. Well, how about you, Joe? Anything come to mind? Spiders,
I think
snakes?
we were the fear that we were trying to tap into here that is a real one of mine is a lack of logic and cohesion. I think I'm terrified by something that is operating not by the normal rules of society or something like that, where you like to think you can bargain with or talk to anyone. And I really wanted to put these characters in a situation where the character that they were interacting with had left society's boundaries and rules and was operating by his own internal sort of nihilistic and feudal logic. Like, I'm already at the end of my life and I'm gonna die either tonight or tomorrow night. I don't know which, but someone's gonna kill me soon. And that is really, really scary to me because you can't bargain with it. And I think that whatever like makes most of the world feel safe to me. I'm the opposite of Mickey. I'm almost impossible to freak out. I think most things make sense to me, even scary or terrible things. But that is one that really does get under my skin. The idea that I might encounter somebody who is irrational to that degree.
Yeah, there's no reasoning with, right? And someone who's in that state that could take something away from you that you could never get back. That is very scary. Spiders are scary too, but let's see. So let's go. So like I said, before we started recording, I do a this or that segment. I basically ask you two things. You just pick one or the other. There's no right or wrong answer in most cases, and usually it's kind of fun, but I will let you two be the judge of that. So the first one is movies here. I've got The Strangers from 2008 or Don't Breathe from 2016.
I'm a Stranger's head. I like the first one.
So good.
I directed a music video for the second Strangers. Actually, it's on that Blu-ray.
Oh, really? Oh, Pray at Night?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nice. I love that.
So I guess I got to say Strangers.
That's so cool. Okay.
Don't breathe. I'll humiliate myself and say I actually have not seen The Strangers. Much to my own embarrassment, I keep hearing it's such an awesome movie. I'm sure I will like it. But I did see Don't Breathe in the theater and liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, Don't Breathe is great too.
It's a great one.
I won't ask about the remakes. They're getting a lot of hate, it seems. All right. So genres here. Do you like psychological horror or creature features?
I like psychological horror.
Same.
Yeah, me too. Good creature features, fun though. Okay, let's see. Hopefully you've seen these movies. I have Hush from 2016 or Inside, the French film from 2007.
I loved Inside.
Me too.
Going with that one. I thought that movie was great.
Inside was one of the first movies I ever watched with my now wife.
Oh.
Yeah,
and she liked it.
So I think that's a testament to.
You're like, hey, I've got a great Christmas movie we could watch.
Yeah, this would be a good second date film. Why not?
Yeah, of course. You could pair it with some other, like Martyrs is a great one.
Yeah, I was like, you said you like French movies. Here's a French one for you.
Oh my gosh, what's the other French extreme one? I'm drawing a blank. Yes, that one's good. And there's they leave Paris, they go to the countryside, and it's like a hostel. What's that one called?
Frontiers?
Frontiers, yes, that's a good one too.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
I was just drawing a blank there. Okay, another fun one here. Coffee all day or tea all day?
All day, I'm going to have to go with tea. I love coffee, and I have coffee every single day of my life. It is part of the excitement of waking up in the morning is that I get to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
but if we're talking all day, I got to go tea because coffee is going to wreck me if I don't cut it off after that first glass.
Yeah, I don't eat probably if we're talking about context of making a movie, there gets to be a point where I just mainline coffee. So I think I've done that more often than tea. So I think I'll go coffee. But But yeah, I mean, I like tea. I'm a tea guy too.
Yeah. So both, yeah, mix it up. All right, so I've got some 70s films here. I'm sure you've seen them. Black Christmas from 1974 or When a Stranger Calls from 1979.
Black Christmas.
Black
for me.
Christmas. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
The
love Black
opening of When a
Christmas, too.
Stranger Calls is amazing, but I like Black Christmas.
Yes, although it's like, just go check the children. Why?
Right.
It's Bob Clark, right?
Yeah.
I love Bob Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, Bob Clark did. Black Christmas. And speaking of Black Christmas, the intro of that guy sounds so crazy on the phone, and then he's perfectly calm, and he says, "I'm going to kill you."
Uh-huh.
That's comparable to the Invader in your film.
Hell yeah. Yeah, totally.
The calmness there. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, do you prefer to stay home and watch movies or go to the theater and watch on the big screen?
Movie theater for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. More films here. I've got Barbarian from 2022 or X from 2022 as well.
I'll go with X.
Yeah, I mean,
And of course.
love them both, honestly, but Ty is one of my best friends. I gotta go
I
with
know,
X.
yes.
I'll never live it down if he somehow
I was-
hears from people that I chose Barbarian over his movie.
That did
I do
occur
really
to
love
me.
X. That's not just a friend choice, but also, I it's like I read the script for X. I watched early cuts of it. I'm just way deeper into that one. But I also thought Barbarian was awesome.
I just thought X checked the boxes for me, like aesthetically, and like the performances are like great and charming, and so Barbarian's awesome, but
That's the toughest one of all these ones.
that one's
That's okay, good. Well, at least I had one tough one. Okay, beer or whiskey if you drink alcohol.
Yeah, I'm a huge beer head. I brew my own beer. I've been obsessed with
hell
beer
yeah.
for a long time. Yeah. So
Nice.
beer by a lot on that. Not that I don't like whiskey. Whiskey's great, but I'm obsessed with beer,
Yeah, there's so many options with beer. Okay, I have some more films here. I have The Rental from 2020 or The Invitation from 2015.
Oh, well, you're killing me.
I wrote The Rental, so I gotta go with my
No, did you? Oh my God, I didn't know that. Oh man.
Me and Dave Franco wrote that together.
I didn't know you co-wrote it. I usually do all my research.
Okay. You like that?
All right, so I love them both, truly. The Invitation is very personal to me because I saw at the first South by Southwest I had ever gone to and gotten accepted to, and then the first Fantastic Fest that I ever got accepted to. So I'm gonna plead the fifth on here and say that I like them equally.
You like them both. Okay. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Let's move on then. I do love The Rental. That is a fantastic film. The ending, unbelievable. So damn good. Okay. Do you prefer a spontaneous road trip or a planned vacation?
I think I prefer a planned vacation at this point in my life. It sounds fun to me to anticipate going somewhere, looking up things about that place. Not that wouldn't jump into a spontaneous road trip, also fun, but I think I'm 44 years old and a planned vacation sounds lovely to me.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like I like looking forward to going to a place, but while I'm there, like if I have to be on like a strict itinerary of like, okay, we're going to go to this museum and this museum, like then that kind of drives me crazy. So like I like planning that I'm going somewhere, but then also kind of freewheeling it if I so choose. But road trips, I'm not very good on road trips anyway. I don't drive. I should drive, but it's not. I just don't drive well, and so sitting in the car for long stretches of time kind of makes me go crazy.
I'm with you though on the over planning of a vacation, not into that. I'm not a every hour of every day.
That sends me on a tear. I've gone on vacations with people who are like schedule it by the minute or like running, and it just makes me want to blow my brains out.
The itinerary. Yes, you can over plan like one activity a day if you do like a like a Europe trip.
Road trip during a planned vacation.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Because it's like if you plan on like a restaurant, like how do you know that you're going to want to have Thai food 6 months from now. Like maybe you're gonna want, something else that night. That's my my
Exactly.
manifesto.
Yes. Okay, so a little bit of both, maybe, I guess. So the last one I have is the Halloween franchise. So all the Halloween films, or the Friday the 13th franchise, all of the Friday the 13th films.
I'm taking Friday the 13th
Yeah.
personally. I like them better. They're a little more my style, and
Yeah. Halloween, I mean, it's had some real duds, but I mean, I
That's
love the
for sure.
first one to such an unbelievable capacity, and I genuinely actually really like Rob Zombie's 2 Halloweens.
Mm.
I think it's tough. I'll go with Halloween though.
Yeah. Those are my 2 favorite franchises, probably. So yeah, I support either answer, both answers, I should say. Well, Mickey and Joe, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Congratulations on Invader. Let me hold up the Paravision edition one more time for those watching. My very last question for you both is, how can you be found on social media if you want to be found?
I'm only on Instagram, and it's just my name, Mickey Keating. So that's it.
Awesome.
I am on no social media. I got off of social media almost 10 years ago, and I've
Oh my
never looked
gosh.
back. But people can find me in Chicago at my brick and mortar video store, Analog, which is connected to the Davis Movie Theater. That's one way to find me. And actually, people do leave me notes and drop off VHS copies of their movies and things like that. So,
And if you want
So
Joe's home
cool.
address to steal all his shit,
It's-
the address is
Oh my gosh. And you have plenty of time. The cops won't come. You have plenty of time to get away. And you
It'll
can
be
even
a
sell
real
things.
luxury.
Oh my gosh. Where do I go from there? Well, congratulations on Invader one last time. This has been amazing chatting with you both. Congratulations on your film.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thanks
for having us.
Yes, of course. Let's see. If you are watching, like and subscribe because it helps my channel. And one last time, Mickey and Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Yes. All right. Bye, everyone.